Georgia. Go right ahead.
Hey, hey, long time no speak.
All right.
The most important question: what did you learn from working the cash register at Ben's Chili Bowl?
How to work a cash register. That was my first time on the job. I was learning a lot of patience, a lot of close listening.
What was that day like for you?
It was actually a lot of fun. Like it was very unique. I've never done anything like that, and I don't mean work. I mean like be in a position where it was like so community based. Like that was a really cool way where it was like an appearance, but it just didn't feel like transactional. Like it was like actually engaging. So it was really cool.
That's what I was gonna ask. Have you gotten to do any of that community stuff around here yet, or was that like your first big one?
I mean, personally, obviously, it was my first big one because I've been immobile.
Makes
So
sense.
I can't wait to do more.
Okay, cool.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for doing this with us. Just, I'll ask the basic question, how's rehab going? What kinds of things are you able to do, whether it's on the court or whether it's just like getting around?
Yeah, no, rehab's been amazing. I'm blessed to be strong. Like, I mean, physically, like having strong quads and calves and all of that helps obviously play a role in rehab. So, I'm back lifting. I've been doing a no waste summer, so a lot of core, a lot of arms. Slowly integrating back my right leg. Obviously, it's going to take some time, but I'm very happy with flexion and extension. I have a doctor's appointment soon, just to a checkup, to see if everything's rolling good, which it is, because I'm walking, I'm getting rid of my limp, so I'm really happy.
I've been hearing about how you're just always around the team, which, a lot of injured players, they go to rehab and they'll kind of be in and out. How have you what does your day to day look like such that you are able to be around so often?
Yeah, I'll just come in super early and get it over and done with. So it means that I can watch practice, be around, and then if I have to do anything else, I'll do it after practice. So anything that I have to do, I stagger it around every single, film or practice or game, to make sure that I'm still there and engaged and watching.
How do you kind of think about your role right now, like whether it's at practice or at games, see you with your pad of paper or notebook or whatever it is?
Yeah, I mean, going into your rookie year, like, injured or not, you always want to be a sponge. So I still have that ability to do that. I'm making the most of it, and obviously being around practice helps that. But I guess my role is to be that sponge, relay that information. I'm worried about a lot less than all the other players are, so I kind of have to. I've kind of put it on myself to, be that share of information, just be the relation of communication, or just, for a lot of the girls at halftime or after the game, it's just that confidence boost. Like, I have such belief in them, and the energy that they put into me with my rehab, I give it back to them during the games or during practice, because it's genuine and it's legit, and I know it's helping me with my rehab, so I know it's going to help them during the season.
Just one more, and then I'll share the wealth. But I gotta ask what your reaction was to the face on a stick that I think it was Aaliyah brought
Yeah,
before the
no, I
opener.
cried immediately because it was like fresh out of surgery. I cried.
Hey, Georgia. Is this your first injury of this type where you're going to be missing so much time and the recovery is going to be very limited in how you can contribute?
Yeah, no, this is my first injury.
When you're out there on the bench, what type of appreciation are you gaining about either this league, the coaching staff, all
Yeah.
kind of the work that's going in? Because I know when you're a player, you're focused on yourself and trying to get better, but here you get kind of see that holistic view in a sense.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, being a point guard, you already have that appreciation, because you have to know, you have to be that extension. And me, I'm so detail oriented that I pay attention to a whole lot of things. But I think even now, so that I'm not playing. Maybe previously it was 60-40, 60 focusing on playing, 40 focusing on the mental aspect. Now, obviously, it's probably like 95-5 in terms of rehab and the mental aspect. So I think it's just given me more of an opportunity to be more in touch, kind of balance a lot less than I previously had to. But I think naturally being a point guard and doing what I had to do during college, that already helped kind of train me. So that when I did get injured, immediately I flipped into that mode of just soaking it all up.
Georgia, how are you liking DC, and what's the transition been like from being in college and having to go to class to being on a pro roster?
Yeah, no, DC is amazing. We're just talking about how walkable it is and how beautiful it is. Limpable, I would say right now for me, but I love it. It's different than college, obviously, but I think the coolest thing about DC is like I'm getting noticed the same as I did in Kentucky. It's kind of crazy to think a college campus versus a big city, but that's how much DC loves the sports. So I think it's really cool, that it's changed. As you said, I'm not going to classes, but it hasn't changed in like the feeling and the support. and just the love for all the teams, really.
What's different about the game and the system from, I guess, being Kenny Brooks' system to being on a pro roster now?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously leaps and bounds between college and the W, and you can always prepare for it mentally and watch, but until you're in it, you don't really know until the first couple of days of training camp for me, or the first month of games. But it's the physicality, and it's a new speed. You go from a 30-second shot clock to a 24. Like, there's a whole lot of aspects that goes into it, and I think that this team would adapted to it. Sonia and Kiki have done amazing, and they've stepped right in and made that transition pretty much seamless. So I'm super proud of them, but it just goes to show when you're intentional about change and adaptable, it helps you a whole lot.
Georgia, first I have to just say I'm so impressed with how you still have a smile on your face, and I love that you're in such great spirits. I have to ask, WNBA All-Star voting is live. Brittney Sykes might get her first shot at being an All-Star. Can you just talk to me about watching her game from the sidelines?
Yeah.
You're still talking to her every day in practice, and kind of the relationship you have with her and what you learn from her in her game.
It better not be might, it better be will, because she deserves to be an all-star, right? And I think going back to my injury, before that, she was amazing to me. I shot with her after practice. She would give me pointers, teachers, shooting, the efficiency of my steps. And, her footwork's amazing, so just to watch that was incredible. But when I got injured, she was like the first person to kind of stand over me and carry me to the training room. So that's like the definition of her. She's amazing. She's been an amazing leader. She's still so engaged with me regardless. So that's a big challenge, to be a star caliber player and to be like the star of this team to a sense, and then still have time for every single person to be an amazing leader. Like, it's been incredible to be a part of, and it's just someone that I can lean on, but someone that also deserves to be an all-star, and someone that, it's about time, is all I'm gonna say. She needs it.
Zooming out a little bit, how have you seen yourself grow as a player and as a person now living in 3 different places in the last year plus, from Blacksburg to Lexington to DC?
Yeah, I think that every single journey I've taken, throughout college and now, kind of set me up to adjust better now. You come from Australia from 18 years of age, and you're in Virginia Tech 4 years, and then you make that change to Kentucky. Like, every single change, I've been able to adapt, and I think it set me up for success. Coming to a city, living by myself, and it's huge adapting to change of scenery, style of play, all of that. But I think just being an international student, spending a vast amount of time in the States already, kind of set me up for some comfortable adjustments coming here.
Where does that adaptability stem from for you? Because to move across the world at 18 to an area that you have zero clue about, and then make the move to Kentucky and now here to DC, where does that stem from for you? Is it something that your parents instilled in you? Is it something you've just kind of figured out for your own?
Yeah, I think partial. It's not being naive, not freaking about it too much. But it's just taking advantage of every single opportunity that's presented to you. If you have a bias, or if you're already thinking something negative going into a situation, it's probably going to be negative. So I think just taking it as it comes, and it goes back to being injured. Like, take it as it comes, see it as opportunity, for some whatever aspect you see it as. So I think just not having any predisposed bias or negative emotions towards anything, and you probably have a lot better time with yourself.
The other aspect that I talked with Sydney about the other day, with you still being around the team, is he said, which I thought was very high praise to you, is that they need you around the team. Knowing that from your head coach as a rookie, you went through a practice and a half before the injury, what does that give you inside, knowing that your coaching staff feels that they also need to keep you around, not because it's for your spirits, but because of the knowledge and the IQ that you have?
Yeah, I think it goes back to kind of what I touched on before, just being that point guard. So much of being a point guard obviously is, how you play and what you do, but it's the mental aspect and it's the vocal aspect. So I can clearly do that on one leg. So that's all I'm trying to bring, and that's all I'm trying to learn, because I know that it's going to set me up for success. And, let alone being a point guard, being on the shorter side, I've always had to do the little things, and I've always had to learn the intricacies, learn my teammates, learn the flow, learn my coach and what they want to see, manifest on the court. So it's been really fun for me to take a step back and just really be a nerd about it. I feel like I'm back in school. Like, I'm not going to class, but I am.
Seeing Liz Kitley return from her injury and get her first start the other night, what does that mean to you? And does that kind of give you a boost in any way, or just kind of show you the path forward?
Yeah, I think you know what I said when I got injured. It's unfortunate, but it's fortunate that I have had so many teammates and friends do their ACL and come back and they're fine. Like if anything, they've learned so much about themselves physically, mentally, and when you see that, you believe in it and you know that you can do it. So it's unfortunate that there's injuries that have happened, but it's so fortunate that I've surrounded myself with great people that can share wisdom. The amount of people that reached out to me post injury and still check in on me has been amazing, and I couldn't be more blessed to have a really good circle of people to lean on and to see succeed. Thank you guys.